I hope that you guys are ready. I see you stretching in the background. And so I think we are now live. Let me just refresh this. I think that there are 2 lives at the moment, guys, that people are looking at. Would you mind sharing on your social media that the correct live channel? Let me see. Hey folks, whoever is watching, I apologize. We're still experiencing a little bit of streaming issues. youtube.com/Fabio Palvelli/live. And this should take us to the latest live. Let's see. I don't know, it doesn't look like we're live. Can anyone see us? I don't see the video.
I can see it, it's live.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I think I'm on the wrong video. Or maybe, oh no, you know what? You know how big of an idiot I am now? I did not press the play button. This goes to show that we as humans need to be a little bit more understanding, put it this way. Good evening, guys. How are you?
Great.
Fine. Good.
Good.
Okay, I need to warn people of tonight's live. Nuno, Csaba, Jake, I don't know about you. I mean, I remember you being a little bit of a lively person, but you guys are among the shyest artists I've ever met in my life.
For sure.
That's not a criticism, it's just that, you know, like, I always say to people, if I had half of the talent of certain people, I would be screaming off a mountain, hey, look at me! Look at my renderings! Hi guys, how are you? Good evening. Everything okay? How's it going?
Yeah.
How's it going? Everybody's closed inside.
Yeah.
Guys, how are you? Thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
Yeah, no problem.
Very
My pleasure.
very happy to have you here, and very happy to see the amount of work and the talent that you have. That it's really hard for me to put it into words, because when I organized this little challenge, I did not expect to have this response. And as renderings were coming in, my reaction was like, fuck me. How can people be so good and so fast and so creative? But anyway, we're going to talk about your projects in a second. But would you like, for the people that, you know, see you for the first time, to quickly introduce yourself so that they know who you are? Maybe Jake, you want to go first because you're on the screen.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Jake Williams. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I currently work at the co-working company WeWork as a creative manager. And so all the work that you kind of see on my art station and stuff is just done in my free time and for fun and stuff like that.
Csaba, you want to go next?
Yeah. I'm 𝘄𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗶. I recently moved to Vienna, Austria.
Woohoo!
Yeah, the end of last year. And yeah, we really enjoy it. And yep, I'm just doing art stuff. And now that I'm actually freelancing now, and try to be more open to maybe other stuff. So not just art we'll see. So I think That's it.
Oh my God, you are so humble. Okay, Nuno.
Hello, I'm Nuno, and I'm still here in Portugal. And I'm the owner of Numa since 2010.
I love you guys. I love you guys. If I were to introduce myself, I'll be like, I'm Nuno. I fucking won the contest.
Yeah, I won. And I didn't expect that. And looking to the amazing and quality stuff that people put in this competition, it was really an honor to win this challenge. But anyway, I'm an architect, and I'm still doing architecture, or trying to do architecture. And I'm also a visualizer. And I do art-viz mostly, but I really enjoy this kind of challenges. And I really thank you, Fabio, for bringing this kind of small challenges to spark us and to maintain our sanity in a way.
Let me ask you a little bit, and feel free to jump on top of each other. Don't worry if you have something to say. It's totally fine. This is an amateur show anyway. How did you find the challenge itself? Was it well organized? And I'm not fishing for compliments. I just want to know if there is something that you're thinking that could have been improved or could have done better, or maybe if there are ways to involve other people to make it even better. I want to have an impression from you guys that took part in the challenge. Give us more money.
So if I can start, I will say only that when I entered to this challenge, it was really for fun and to try to bring a little of different way of living in a house, if I say so, because we are in these so strange times that I'm full of work. But I really need this kind of small things to to try to maintain my sanity. My sanity. Yeah. Because and saying that, I really didn't expect nothing more than the effort that you have put on this. So for me, you are already putting a lot of effort, of personal effort, without any return, I guess.
It's okay. I think that to me the important thing is that we'll talk about this later. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that we need to do it because we don't only exist on a material level, we also exist at a psychological level. And of course, working, it's very hard during these days. But if you want to make it as an artist through these tough times, you need to you need to challenge yourself. And so if nobody is going to give you a chance to challenge yourself, the artist inside of you is going to die. And maybe that sounds like bullshit, but that's how I feel about it. But it doesn't matter. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think the timing of it is really perfect, Fabio, and I think not really overthinking it or making it into something too big or too important kind of helps with keeping it fun and energetic, like just setting a weekly deadline, here's a car, here's a computer. I think that's like a really clever idea to get people out of their shell of like what their usual workflow is and not take it too seriously. Just put in the time you can. It's going to be fun if you get anything done. that's kind of what it's for, and I appreciate that.
I'm very happy to hear. What about you, Csaba?
I agree with the guys, actually. We briefly talked about it, in person, or not in person, like on Facebook.
Directly, yes.
Yeah, directly. And I think it's a really, really good idea. And I really appreciate how you basically brought the community together and try to move the guys out of their comfort zones and try something else. And I think it really helps for everyone, especially for these RPs guys, because I know it from experience that if you do RPs, you tend to just stay in the RP circle, and you can live a life inside of that small circle actually and being happy. But if you just every now and then step outside of it and try something else, I think it's really beneficial, not just for your professional career, but also for your personal experience. And for me personally, it was really fun to move away from these heavy models and do just a simple car and I can render it super fast. no complications, and I can just really, with the really simple tools, I can just try to make a good image. And I had so much fun. I actually was really busy with work, but
you told me you were like, I think Saturday morning you were like, I'll try to do something.
And it was really fun to see over the week how it basically got bigger and bigger. Like all the images were just over the top. I didn't expect anything like this.
Yeah, how many images did you get in the end, Fabio?
I think that when I started with the live, I got about 160, and then during the presentation, I got an additional 40, and I'm still getting them. They're right on me.
Yeah, I can see it.
Today, they wrote me, "Is it late for the challenge?" I'm like, "Yeah." You can do the second one.
Yeah, you should start on the next one.
If it includes a computer, then it's okay.
But I'm already working on the third one, and I cannot wait to announce it, because I'm also pushing myself outside of the comfort zone. So I don't know. Let's see if I screw it up or if it's a good thing. But anyway, let me ask you individually, how did you decide to approach this project? Try to break down for me what was going on in your head when you saw the car model and said, okay, let's do something. Who do we start with? Csaba, how do you feel? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I didn't really think about it, actually. The whole point for me was to just have fun. So I didn't really have any idea how to approach it. So I just opened up the model and, just like automatic drawing, just to see what comes. And that was the beginning, actually. And then I tried different approaches. First of all, I think the biggest thing was to find a sexy angle for the car, because it was kind of difficult.
What are you talking about? That car is amazing.
It's amazing from certain angles. That was I think, basically in the first 5 minutes, I decided that, okay, I need to show the back. There's no question about it. And then, I think I started with this typical automotive image approach. And how deep should I go in this?
But let me ask you, was the choice of the big tire driven by the tire, or was it because you said, maybe I'm going to put it on another planet and then it needs to be more rugged? And
yeah, I mean, it was just a process, because at the beginning, as I mentioned, I wanted just a really standard like automotive picture, but fairly well done. And then yeah, when I was looking at the car, I saw that this is really cool, and then maybe I can do this. This I don't want to hurt anybody. Let's like typical approach to have it like really like putting in different crazy colors and whatnot. And then I decided I would rather go something like more traditional, but at the same time I didn't want to do the same thing that everyone ever did on this genre. So that meant for me that I need to push the car out of this flat, like basically just sitting on the floor kind of image. And first I tried with you know, this typical racetracks when it goes, you know, up and down on little hills.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I still didn't really like it. It was just I usually I follow my gut, and until I feel something, I just go. So yeah, I didn't feel it. So.
And I've seen your breakdown. You've used a lot of like matte painting techniques, right? Like I've seen layers of depth and a lot of effects photoshopped on top of the car. Does this allow you to? Does this allow you to move a lot faster when making images?
I barely use Photoshop to my standard, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't even use like ZDepth. It was fog, rendered fog.
Okay.
So I think the only thing I photoshopped was just the dirt, and then I emphasized different elements on the car a bit to have the balance right. And
is the engine 3D modeled, or did you just?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just downloaded everything from, I don't even know, like there's this free site. I don't know the name. You can download CAD models. So the only task was just to pimp it up a bit. So that's where I got the tires and the engine and this exhaust pipe or whatever.
Because it kind of looks like the original one, you know, because the Stratos has these pipes that come from, I think, from the left side, but they do it in the same exact way as you.
Oh yeah. I looked up the original car,
okay.
Obviously.
All right.
And I thought that, okay, that kind of looks cool. And also, like, I wanted to have this really low angle, and then you can really see the bottom of the car. So I needed some eye candy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image. I think that, you know, the color composition and everything, it's unbelievable. Really good image. Guys, do you have any comments on Czaba's project? Looking at it, you can be. Don't worry, it's, you know, it's a conversation. You can be as daring or as mean. I
really liked the breakdown video.
Yeah.
Was cool. It was like I was kind of expecting, you know, what the first 20 seconds or whatever, and then when the car comes in and it actually drops and then drives into place.
Yes.
That was like by far my favorite part of the whole thing, because I was not expecting it to actually like drive into place.
It's on Czaba's channel for those who might be asking.
I think that the process video really showed how much I enjoyed the process itself. Like people coming back to me and saying that that's really like a nice breakdown video and then really fun.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I felt when I was working on the project.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that it, you know, the stars aligned. It showed not just the image itself, but maybe the emotions and stuff like that, the mindset I was in.
Okay, there are people that are actually asking me, you know, if you can break down the whole making of. It's gonna take a little bit of time if we want to really go into details. And eventually, I think that the video that you have done, that you have posted on your YouTube, it's kind of explanatory. And obviously, you know, we could dedicate a whole episode to how you did it and the techniques that you used. But to me, it's more interesting the thinking process, because, you know, a lot of people find themselves very often in a pit where they cannot get out, and they get stuck in terms of like how to be creative and how to, you know, do something that, you know, they want to be different from the others. And so to me, trying to break down your thinking process is probably a little bit more interesting, because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, you know, I might be throwing a wild stab in the dark saying this, but the techniques that you have used, they're not really advanced techniques, right,
No,
Csaba?
not at all. And as I mentioned before, it's not even photoshopping. If you check out this making of video, I think from the moment I dropped down the car, which is like,
I'm gonna put the link when we're done with the live. I'm gonna put the link to your breakdown inside the description. Okay.
Okay. So then there's this drop down of the car, and then it stops only after I start the Photoshop layers. So it's like, as I mentioned, there's no just color correcting and then some curves and the dirt, and that's it. So it's not a complicated image. Yes, I use just displacement and noise and. Really,
which kind of assets have you used, or usually which kind of assets do you use? Is there any preferred produce that you like to buy, that you know that they will deliver quality and that you enjoy using, like, you know, 3D assets? Or
actually it's different in every project almost, but usually I start with 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗶 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I just use free stuff, because as I mentioned before, there's a lot of like good quality stuff on the internet already. And then I think there's a lot of good modeling guys out there, and I'm not one of them. And I think realism is basically up to the materials and lighting. So even if the model is not so good, you can just put a really nice material on it, and everyone will forget that it's.
So guys, any comments about Czaba's project? Jake, Nuno?
What can I say about this image is, when I saw, I didn't saw the live about the announcements, and I saw it later, because with Xavier it's impossible. My son. I saw it on later evening, and Fabio put all the images, or all the 25 image thumbnails, and I really looked to. Of course, I have already that I won, but when I saw the video, for me the 𝘊𝗃 image for me was the best image on the competition. So for me, if I was a jury, I will pick the 𝘊𝗃 image, because I always try to look at my images on the end with thumbnails, because we lose that kind of details that we are used to watch when we are producing the image. Yeah. And the thumbnails lead us to another things about color, composition, and lighting that we kind of lose when we are working on the images. And when I saw the video about the announcement, that thumbnail of 𝘊𝗃 was for me the choose. If I have to pick, it was this one. So it's really well composite. The light it's right on top, and when we look to the details, they are really well done. So yeah. From the technical point to the artistic point of view, it's really well done, this kind of image, and it's only one image that it's really powerful.
Thank you for the kind words.
Jake, how about you?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. I think it's like it has this simple quality that is like very powerful, even though it's just, you know, a single frame. I think the car was really challenging to frame up in a camera because it's super low to the ground, and the front of the car is like just, you know, basically just nose diving. So I agree with him there that like shooting it from the front was really difficult to frame up. So I think that's why it makes this composition like so much more powerful to see the back of it, but also that it's kind of pushed above the horizon. So I think it's a combination of the composition and then the lighting that really makes it stand out from everyone else's.
You know, Jake, it's funny that you're saying this, because if you look at your images of both of you guys, one on top of the other, it looks like you've chosen almost the same angle.
Almost, yeah. I think his is a bit better because it's angled slightly away.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
but
I saw that and I thought it was funny.
It's funny to see how sometimes, you know, certain choices are made based on the same sort of like this artistic direction decision, so to say. But anyway, Jake, you want to go next?
Sure.
There we go.
So yeah, like I just said, my first impression when I was just trying to frame something up with the car, I was struggling to get a good shot of the front of it. So I kind of knew straight away that I wanted to focus on the back side of the car. And I don't know, I think I wasn't that impressed with the car, to be honest, in the beginning. So I had the sense that I wanted to appease you by doing something kind of futuristic and something, you know, Tales from the Loop or Blade Runner is, you know, kind of the style that I've been working in lately. So I was thinking in that way, and I wanted to create an image that was not really showing the car as like the main focal point, but kind of just like a part of this story, rather than just kind of like, here's a car. So once I kind of decided that I needed a few more elements to make the story come together, I kind of started to think about what that environment might be. You know, the really detailed road and like the gas station and stuff just kind of started making sense that it would be a place for this car to be sitting and kind of static, where you could have a character interacting with it.
There is really a lot of tension in this image, and you know, the only criticism that I can give you is this type of work needs to be sent earlier to the judge, because you discover things as you look at this image, you know, like when we were discussing it between us, the judges, we were like, yeah, but look what it's happening. There is a car coming and the guy is looking and it's like, oh shit, what's going on? And the receipt, it's right there. So the car, it's in motion. They did not switch it off. So they're ready to like run away. And the whole framing, you know, like with the other, I don't know if this is a phone or another, what do you call it, pump. It was really an amazing photo. And I have to say, thank God that there were Mike and Jason with me, because allowing us to have a discussion really made us look at the image good. Because otherwise, you know, we would have been like, yeah, that's another shot, you know, rusty and blah, blah, blah. But here there are so many elements of discussion that are so powerful. And, you know, the image is really good and very well executed, but that story element makes it even better. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really kind of started coming together once I got kind of like the photo of Ryan Gosling, obviously, to get that he's looking in the right direction. I said, okay, then this could make sense. And then looking down the road, I said I originally didn't have that car at the end of the road, and thought I could definitely need something there, because basically the Stratos is kind of pointing your eye there with the perspective line, so it needed something. And then as soon as I kind of dropped in that car at the end, it kind of completed this like tension within the frame that I thought that like that's kind of completed to me then, once I had those kind of three elements. And then the other stuff was just kind of the framing things. But yeah, I wanted to submit it earlier. It just was a bit of a short deadline to get all this done within a week, you know. So the biggest struggle that I had, Fabio, was unwrapping this car.
Okay, little disclaimer. I never unwrap, like, it's been 12 years that I've been doing images for architects, and I've never unwrapped anything. Like, not even a wait, no. Once I unwrapped a walkway. There was snow, and we were doing a project in Austria, and so I had to unwrap that. But that was the only thing. And then I said, never ever again in my life. Box wrapping since 2007.
I'll be honest. I just learned it like this year, in the past year. But this was the most difficult thing I've ever had to unwrap now.
Okay, don't worry. I promise you the next thing will be just as hard.
Yeah, I looked at the computer and was second guessing myself already if I wanted to unwrap that. But no, I think that made a big difference in the image as well. Like, since I know that the car was going to be kind of really close in the foreground, I knew that it needed kind of like a lot of detail to really set it.
Yes.
So I've been working a lot in Substance Painter lately. So all of the foreground elements were kind of unwrapped individually and then textured with Substance Painter.
It's really an incredible piece of work. Really, like, the more I look at it, the more I loved it, you know. And that's another thing that I really want to put some stress on, talking to the people that are thinking about doing the Macintosh design, the challenge, or that they're planning to do one afterward. Try to send your work not on the deadline, because if you give a little bit of time to the judges to look at it, they'll have more time to study these things. And yeah. Jake, incredible work. Nuno, do you have anything to add to this project?
I really don't like to judge other people's works, because I know that is a lot of effort, and I really love the composition, and the lighting are really super well done, and even what Jake told about directing the eyes on an image, for me, is a thing that I'm kind of struggle all the time, because I really like to do this kind of exercise, and it's really not easy to when people looking to the images, they tend to look to overall image, but I really like this kind of exercise to drive the eyes of the people to certain direction. And what Jake told, it was my feeling when I saw the image also. So for me, it's really well done. The only thing that I will change, but that was one thing that I struggle also on my exercise. It was the backlight.
Okay.
I think I've also tried some kind of particular areas of light, but in the end I found that that back needs to have
the linear is better,
linear light, in my opinion. Yeah. But all the rest, it's really amazing. And
yeah, again,
the jury choose really well the images.
Guys, it was really difficult to go through the decision process. Really,
I believe.
It was heartbreaking, you know. But anyway, let me just say, really, like, incredible work, guys. Seriously, like, looking back and looking at these images and think that you guys were able to do it in such a short time frame and be so creative and so, you know, like, being able to show every time something different, it was incredibly motivating to me as an artist. And, you know, like, I'm pretty sure that those who are watching, they're probably gonna think the same way. So there are quite a few people joining us. Hi Fabio, hi Mike. Did I start early? Did we start early, guys?
I guess.
Did we? I apologize. I'm so confused every time with, like, times and stuff, you know. It's like I send invitation to people and then my calendar pops up and says, you have the live. Okay, I'm going. And then, you know what happened? On the other side, people are always too nice and they never say to me, but we were supposed to meet in an hour. No, they'll be like, okay. Nuno, are you ready to talk about your project?
I guess.
Let's see. There it is.
When I decided to enter to this competition, it was really for fun, and I saw your posts on social media earlier, and then because of I full of work, I decided that I could not enter to this competition, but that is the difficult part that I'm feeling right now, and all my life right now it's more or less represented in that story. because I'm really a bit frustrating not going to the office, because I feel that when I'm in the office, I kind of feel that I think I'm more creative in a way. So because of the need of working at home, I have also several issues regarding the workflow, and this takes a lot of time when I send to the office to do render and so on and bring it back, and this give me time to sketch. I really love to sketch, and this is my render engine when I'm waiting for the other.
Wait, because you're probably showing it to the camera, right? Because I have your picture laid over. Hold on.
Sorry.
No, you can show it. Because I should have actually shown this also as a picture, because it was really interesting to me that you also sent me the sketch.
And in these free times, I try to look at social media and getting actualized. And I saw again your announcement, and I started to thinking, why not to put this as a personal project, because I really like this kind of personal projects. I have here at the office the 40 minutes project that I try to follow in sometimes, and I think to myself that I could bring this kind of competition to a 40 minutes project. In the end, it ends in a 5 hours competition.
Okay, I wanted to say, if you did this in 40 minutes, there is a window right over there. I would have just jumped off.
No, it ends in 5 hours of work since the start to build the post-production. Because when I start this kind of personal projects, I try always to imagine and materialize that in my sketchbook. And when I start when on the computer, I've already know what I'm going to do in a way, and I take these personal projects also for testing my knowledge and improve my knowledge. So I decided to bring to this scene the 𝘀𝗀𝗃 assets, because I start using more regularly, and I decided to use more or less the scene with 𝘀𝗀𝗃 assets. And the other part of the story was really the feeling that I'm getting with these strange times, and I decided to tell more or less a story that I'm really positive about this, and in the end is going to be everything all right. But right now we are suffering in a way.
Yeah.
We are all good, healthy, but all the strange things that are happening are really, for me, are really hard to assimilate. And this was more or less a story that I want to bring to tell. And I start to do the first composition. I was planning to do one shot only because of my intention, but in the end I start moving the camera, and I really like the mood, and I start to render also another shots. And then this becomes a snowball in terms of time, and I decided to bring some details to the tires, to the light, etc. And that's why this took 5 hours.
I look at this image and I cannot help but discovering, you know, all the little things that you did in then handing in the project. Like, I love how you used very basic storytelling framing techniques, where, you know, you draw the attention to the car, and this is basically the same shot but like zoomed in, and then you have this shot that prepares to the context, and you don't realize it at first, but there are the shadows of the people here, and so you know that there is somebody. And then
that was the first intention. When I thought about one single shot, I thought that the end is near.
Yeah,
people are going to follow to the bright side.
yeah.
But when I rendered the first shot, I thought to myself that this is not going to work, so I need to render another shot. And well, bringing some new techniques to about composition, that was the first point of this challenge, was to bring some kind of positive mind and testing new techniques about composition, lighting, and so on.
Yeah, because actually composition, you know, it should not be considered just as something that you do once you've figured out all the technical aspects. I've actually seen work of people that was composed in the proper way, that maybe did not have the technical quality, but it was still very powerful because of the composition itself, you know?
I've listened recently a webinar of 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗹𝗶.
Yes, Nikos.
Nico. And he told me in that webinar about even the framing, the dimensions of the framing doesn't need to be the same in all the shots, and that is important to tell your story. And when I start doing the post-production and trying to make this kind of approach of comic strip, I really found that yes, this kind of dimensions doesn't need to be the same to focus the eyes on the images. this last image, this was the last image because in the end I've rendered that 5 images, and I decided this is not going to work, and I need to tell a story with a comic strip, and this was like the last page of a big book of a comic strip.
I love it. I really love it. I love the colors that you have chosen. I love the fact that you have used light as a way to, you know, explain something. You know, there is something happening over there, and it's the miracle that we were looking for, you know, or something like that. I love it. And, you know, I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. When I saw this image, I was like, that's a fucking winner. It's right there. I'm gonna call off the competition. Nuno, get the $100.
It really, when I entered to the competition, I really didn't care about prize or so on, even the result, because I really start to get motivating when I start to drawing, and I thought, yes, this is going to be my personal project.
Guys, do you have any comments to add to Nuno's project?
I mean, I like it. I like it so much. I think for me, the biggest thing was just the format, basically. That it was really surprising to me, and I like being surprised. That's always a big factor, and I think it's just really shows how fun was this whole competition. And yeah, I mean, of course, technically it's really good, but the biggest thing was just the format, these comic strips, and this really like short story that really reflected Nuno's mindset. And yeah, that was the best part for me. So congratulations for
Thank you.
Jake?
Yeah, for me, I like the colors a lot. I think, I mean, so in comparison to mine, I went with like more of like a contrasting blue and orange kind of thing. And I didn't, you know, and 𝘀𝗶𝗧𝗏's is kind of similar color too. Like we all went with like basically almost the same color car, this orange car. And I think it works really well here, especially in like that bad year crop shot. I think it's like just enough red that it kind of stands out from the background of the orange, but it's not too contrasted. Like if you went with like a blue or something like that, it would have kind of overpowered the color of the frame. I think here it's like a little bit of a subtle thing where you actually notice the rocks and the people a little bit more rather than if the car were a different color. I think I would have enjoyed adding a little bit of dust on the car in like a substance painter or something to make it look a little bit more like it had been kind of forgotten in the desert. I think that would have worked really well in this shot as well. But no, overall, I think it was a really kind of clever idea to tell a little bit more of a story with it, with the multiple images in a comic style.
Thank you.
That would have meant unwrapping. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that.
the reason I was photoshopping.
Box mopping! So, guys, it seems to me that we all agree that the car was a great car model that I've done, right?
Yes.
Excellent, yeah.
Guys, okay, let me just, I'm gonna put down the picture so that I can see you again. Let's give a couple of tips to the guys that are thinking to enter the Macintosh 2020 competition. Let's try and help them out, coming up with ideas and coming up with techniques with which they can sort of like, you know, experiment and think of like approaching this project maybe in a different way. And I know that it's a little bit of a vague request from my side, but I want to sort of like dig into your head right now to see what's going on in your beautiful brains if you're thinking of like doing this project, so that maybe we can share this with the guys that are watching from home.
I don't know. I think the first thing that I usually think about is like what type of kind of story you're trying to tell with this object. If it's going to be a scene where this object is like the main subject, or actually, you know, it's a secondary object and you're looking at building the entire scene around it. I think and since it's such a short time frame, I would kind of encourage people to really come up with a lot of ideas quickly, and then maybe test out a few of them, and then within, you know, half a day, whatever one you actually like the most, I think you just kind of have to stick with it and really go for it, because this doesn't give you a lot of time to like change your mind. So the more time you can get on one idea, the more successful it's going to be.
Jake, are you thinking of like entering the Macintosh competition?
I was thinking about it last night. Yeah, I came up with a few ideas.
I swear, if you tell me that you're gonna do it, I'm gonna try and unwrap the model for you. Csaba, what about you?
I mean, especially with these challenges, I would much rather go into the 3D space with an empty head and just explore and look around and trust your feelings and guts. So it's just, for me, like, as I mentioned before, with the car as well, I think the fun part is not just with the car, with everything, is to go into the 3D space and explore it, and maybe you come across something interesting or something that sparks an idea for a story, and then when you try to like unwrap this idea, and maybe, you know, the story just continues, and then a bit like Jake's car image. It's like he started somewhere, and then one thing led to another, and then at the end there's a multiple layer and the whole story behind the image. And this was my approach, and I don't think I'm gonna enter this one because I already won.
No, you should do it. It's just that there is a rule that we did not tell you, is that you cannot win the second challenge. No, it's totally fine, you know, like that's another thing that I want to tell people. Don't get angry if we don't choose your image. It's not like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we do care about the challenge, but it's not something that we're doing because we're gonna win the champion of the world 3D modeling rendering artist. It's something that we're doing as a way to cope with our creativity and with our mood through this period of time that it's going to be over soon. And so instead of like putting our brains to sleep, we just do this contest and we work as hard as we can. I'm also doing it, like I'm also making images. It's not like I'm gonna enter my own contest and then give me a medal. It's like, congratulations, Fabio. It's, you know, like, accept the camaraderie rather than, you know, the competition. Competition, it's fun, but put as first priority the learning process. Try to learn something, try to test something new. I mean, you never get the chance to try these things because maybe you work only in architectural visualization or product visualization. Let's go crazy. Let's make something that you would not make otherwise. And if you win something on top of that, I'm very happy for you. But, you know, life goes on even without winning this. And just bottom line, don't be angry at me because I did not pick your project.
Yeah, I think it's really true. And also, like, just seeing those entries for the car competition, I had so much fun just watching the posts and images, you posted, Fabio, and it was just it's just basically fun to see how people got crazy, and then in my opinion there was like at least 50 images that could have won the competition, because it's not just the execution. I really appreciated the fun factor in it, like this furry car, for example, and like all these total crazy ideas. I loved it.
Dude, like the night that we did the announcing of the winner, I went to sleep and I kept thinking to myself, who the fuck are you to say delete? You know, it's like I kept thinking about this the whole night, because I was like, it's such a harsh way to like get rid of the, and that's the reality. Like, we had maybe 25 really outstanding images, and we had no idea how to approach it. And that's another thing that people should understand, is that at the end of the day, it really comes down to, of course, talent and everything, but also a little bit of luck. And in life, one thing that I've learned is that the more you put yourself out there, the more you will be exposed to the chance of like winning, so to say. And so, you know, again, go into this competition with the idea that you want to push yourself. The outcome is irrelevant. But of course, if you win, it's a good thing.
But I think for me, it's really one thing that people should think about entering on this kind of competition. It's really for what you had said, not for the glory, but to have fun, because it's really nice to have this kind of personal projects with a purpose. I do a lot of personal projects that I more or less publish just for fun, waiting for a render, or instead of drinking a beer, I prefer to do a 40 minutes project, and that I think is the most interesting part, and I really recommend to people. I've also sent this events to my students to encourage them to participate, because it's the only way to get fun. Because on commercial projects, they are fun, but you have always a client that it's limiting yourself in a way.
Yes.
Here, you don't have this limitation.
It's true. It really is true. And Nuno, can I ask you, are you going to try and do the next
Not this time.
challenge? Not this time? It's fine. Don't
Because
worry.
I'm right now I'm rendering a lot of images to deliver for a project, and the computer is on fire. And in the meantime, I have 2 projects starting this week, so it's going to be impossible to the free time that I have between renders, I have to work in another renders. So it's going to be hard, but I have already some ideas.
Maybe if you have some good ideas, I can get you an artist on Fiverr.
Really?
To do the project
really
for you.
cheap.
It will only be €5.
Ah, great. But it's this I really cannot enter, but maybe the next one.
I
And
tell you
thanks
already
for
that
this.
no, it's my pleasure. I tell you already that the next one is going to be a lot of fun, but I've seen already some of the entries from the Macintosh competition, and they're really cool, really cool. I love that. And actually, I have to say, a lot of people are getting in touch to do sponsorships. And so
Great.
week by week, everything that I'm getting from the sponsors, I'm putting inside the prize draw. And so, the more we go further, the more there is a stake to win. I'm saying this because, don't sit on your back. Try to continue making this so that there is more chance for you to win one of them.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It feels like a tournament.
Come again?
Instead, it feels like a tournament that's kind of building up week after
week.
Sort
of, yeah, you're right. I wanted to ask you one more thing about, the way that you think that, how can I put it? Okay, so, first of all, I want to say to the people at home, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, because otherwise we're gonna forget and we're gonna leave this until the end of the live, and people won't ask any questions. Guys, how long did it take you? Nuno already said it, but how long did it take you for you to make these images?
I worked on mine like the whole week. I think I started unwrapping it on Monday and finished on like Tuesday night. So it probably took me like, a good 6 hours to unwrap it or something like that.
Did you do it one polygon at the time?
Yeah. I don't know, I worked on it for maybe like 2-3 hours kind of each night or something like that, and then rendered it. And then I think I worked on it a little bit on Saturday as well, and then rendered it to complete it. Like when I sent it to you on Sunday, that was like literally I had just saved it and sent it to you. So I almost ran out of time.
Csaba instead?
Probably I'm just stupid. I have no idea. It's just every day I spent a bit of time with it, but I just lost track of time. Sometime I just I think there was a night when I just spent like 10 minutes with it, just to see what happens if I do this and that with the lighting. And then there was another night when I was sharing my screen with my brother, and he was feeding me with inputs.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Is he also an artist?
No, he's an outsider.
Okay.
That's the best. That is the best person to judge.
Yeah.
I must say, in the end, when I show the images to my wife, she said that was a really nice vacuum cleaner. Because the tube on front.
Now the reason why I wanted to ask you this question about how long it took you, it's because I also want people at home not to feel frustrated in case, like you think that these guys are only working half a minute or 5 minutes. It takes a little bit of time.
It's actually the opposite. I mean, for me, I definitely spent at least 6 hours on it, but I think it's more like 10 maybe. But since this is fun for me, this is my hobby, not just my work. For example, when you sit in front of the TV, you can easily lose track of time because you like it, and it's the same with this competition. So that's why I have a really hard time telling exactly how much time I spent with it. But yeah, it's not just I clicked twice and it was done. It was a whole week of work. Not hard, but it was. It wasn't hard because I didn't unwrap it. I just wanted to have fun with it. So, for example, at the beginning, I wanted to do the dirt on the car in 3D, and I was like, I'm not. Why would I do it? It's just in Photoshop. It's 2 minutes.
That's a smart move.
Sorry, I'm not criticizing you here. I wanted to do it in 3D, but I couldn't unwrap. It's just, I had to go back to the basics. So yeah, it's definitely taking for me a lot of time. Especially for me, I'm really slow in general. So it's not like I just squeeze out images in seconds.
I'm still waiting for people to come up with questions. So far, there is only one from Aman. He says, Nuno, do you take apprentice? Like people to work for you?
Right now, no. I have already people working with me, but it was, I don't know, I'm really not a good manager. So for me, it was really hard to manage the office and people. People are really important, and they need to be well guided. And I think I was not the best person to manage office and people. And for that reason, I decided to start working alone with my wife. She's dealing with more bureaucratic stuff, and I decided also to slow a bit more, because I was getting crazy about the work and a lot of work that I was receiving in that time, because in the end of the month we need to pay the bills, and with people I think we should not fail, and we need to pay properly. And for that reason, I was taking a lot of projects and work, and I was getting crazy. And for that reason, I decided, for now, at least for now, I will not hire people.
Fair enough. Adam, my pleasure, my man. Okay, so guys, I really think that, we got to the end of this conversation, unless you want to add anything to this.
It's just thanks for having me, and thanks for organizing this competition or series of competitions. I think it's perfect timing, and it's just fun. This is
my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
I think it's really important, this kind of small challenges to keep sparking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just not taking it too seriously and really trying to have fun with your idea and kind of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone is, I think, what the biggest takeaway for me was.
Very happy to hear, guys. Very happy to hear. Okay, there are no more questions coming in. Just the one from Adam, maybe a technical question. Which render engines did you guys use? I did not ask that. So?
Well, I can start. I since Numa, I've worked with Cinema 4D and V-Ray. And since then it's my render engine. I'm kind of a sufferer.
Mine is in 3D Max and Corona.
Yeah, it's 3D Max here as well, but I was using V-Ray.
And Jake, how did you unwrap it?
Just the old school 3D Max unwrapper, and also Substance Painter does have a new automatic unwrapper that I've been using, and that saved the day actually on this.
So you complained for using an automatic unwrapper?
After I tried for a couple hours to do it like good quality by hand, I just had to settle for the automatic, which is usually quite a mess, but it did all right.
It did all right. Guys, I want to thank you for taking the time. I want to thank anybody who tuned in and spent, I think, just a little bit more than an hour with us. I hope that you found some answers to the projects, if you had any curiosity. Guys, I'm pretty sure that you are willing to talk to people if they reach you online on social media, right? So, feel free to just send them a message. I've been talking to you guys for a while now. We all met in person at one point in our lives at the D2 conference, and I can vouch for you guys that these are awesome people and super nice, super sweet, and yeah, and we had a great time. I want to thank you one more time. I'm going to stop the live stream. Don't go anywhere so that I can say thank you one more time. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, it was fun.